Hello, and welcome to New Jersey Wedding Podcast. I hope it's not your first time, and if it is, I hope we'll see you again soon. I'm Celia Milton from NJ Vows Now, and I'm here with my partner and friend and colleague, Andrea Pertel, who is from For This Joyous Occasion. Between the two of us, we cover all of New Jersey. I'm in the north, she's in the central and south. You are in good hands anywhere you go. We have a great episode for you today. We're going to talk about hotel blocks. I know that doesn't sound too glamorous, but you're going to be glad you listened because we're going to clear this all up with our friend Laura Giordano. You're engaged. That is so great. It's such an exciting time and probably a little bit overwhelming too. We'll try to cut through some of that overwhelmed feeling and help you get back to the joy you both felt when one of you asked that singular question and the other person said yes. You want a unique and amazing ceremony, we know that, and we're here to put that together for you. The process is really simple. How refreshing is that? You've created your love story. We're going to write it, and yes, you will see a script before that day. We tell this great story to your guests. They laugh, they cry, and then they party. Easy, right? And I bet it sounds great. A wonderful personal ceremony that feels just like you and lets your guests feel the warmth and joy of the day. We can create that together. Okay, I cannot promise it'll be as much fun as tasting cakes, but we'll try to come close. So let's talk about how to put your wedding together so at the end everybody's had a great time and you're married. So just reach out to us at NJ Vows Now. We're going to make this all easy and fun. I promise. Good morning, everybody. We are so happy to have Laura Giordano with us today as our guest. She is the Director of Sales and Marketing for the Element Hotel in East Rutherford, which is a really beautiful hotel, really boutique hotel nearby many of the venues in this area. And she's going to talk to us today about hotel blocks. I know it doesn't sound too glamorous, but it's something you need to think about literally as soon as you book your venue. Hello, Laura. How are you?
I'm doing well, Celia. How are you?
Hanging in there, just waiting for spring to really get here. I think it's in like 3 or 4 days, right? You're going to talk to us about this notion of like, where are these people going to stay, right?
Exactly.
And when you should think about it. So I'm gonna defer to you, and you can tell us about that.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes,
I am ready.
yes. Let me hear how this works.
Okay, thank you. So it's really not that complicated, but what we find
good.
no, really, but what we find is that it's the last thing that the bride and groom tend to think about. And so, but it's really should be in conjunction with when you're booking your rooms at any of the fabulous venues within this area. So
Okay.
hotel blocks, number one, it's an asset for the bride and groom because at least they know, exactly where their guests can stay and they can house their family and friends in one or two locations, depending on how big their wedding is. Wedding blocks are a courtesy, which is what I always tell the bride and groom. It's a courtesy, meaning that blocks start at a minimum of 15, and then we kind of go up from there based on, how they're picking up pace-wise. So
Okay.
the good thing about wedding blocks, the benefit, is the fact that it's a courtesy. There is no deposit and there is no attrition.
Okay.
So that means 30 days prior to, we simply release rooms back into the system that aren't picked up and used.
So people really should is it fair to say that like on their save the dates or on their websites, things that go out before the invitation, which is typically like 6 to 8 weeks, they should let people know that there are room blocks that they have access to, but not forever?
That is exactly correct. So when I'm doing my site tours and speaking with the young couples, I actually tell them, I'm so happy that you're here ahead of time because the best bang for the buck that you're going to get with hotel blocks is if you actually, with your save the dates and your invitations, send out the reservation link that I'm going to make for you. Because this way they have early, like the ones that are early to book, and then they have the later ones as well, which is usually your aunts and uncles and things like that.
Right.
So I create reservation links for my bride and groom for their family, so it's easy for them to find. It takes the onus from them, so they don't have to worry about chasing who's booking, who's not booking. I simply give them a code, and then they will go out and click on the link, their guests, and then they can book their own reservations. My system will populate a rooming list, and then I have it for them. I can email it to them so they have access to who's actually booked already.
Yeah, I think it's something, we've talked about this before that, if you're in a venue that is in a hotel or, a giant B&B or something like that, they're going to remind you when you book that you need to do this. But I think for other people who are doing, a standalone venue, I don't think that they really think about it. I talk to people towards the end of the process, the planning process, and it's like, well, are your people staying at a hotel? Just because it helps me know more about the graphics of the day. And they're, oh, we haven't done that yet. It's like, well, you should like do it now.
You should definitely, and I want to just bring out another point as well. I'm going to just speak upon my hotel because every other hotel might have their own check-in times.
Yeah.
So where there's impasses, Celia, would be the fact that my check-in time is at 4. Now, the fact that you decided you're getting married at 4 o'clock at the Venetian or something,
Mm.
you understand? Like you just can't just assume, 40 people can just come rushing through my hotel and get a room at 4 o'clock, because that's not how it works. So it's really an education process for them to understand that
Yeah.
if they want a guaranteed early check-in, they have to book the night before. Okay. Or you have to call the hotel around 11 in the morning to see how we can accommodate your guests as well. But we can't always guarantee the day of. Does that make sense?
Yes. How do people figure out like how many room blocks they need? Is there like a ratio of rooms to guests, or like what kind of questions should they be asking themselves to figure out how many rooms they might need?
So the questions that I actually ask them to help guide them is, there is a ratio, but it is, I sit down with them and say, now, can you kindly tell me exactly how big is your wedding? Average 150, then it goes kind of
Okay.
up. Okay, can you now tell me, in terms of your guests, the locations of which they're coming from? Okay. And then they'll say, oh, like some are like in New Jersey, like a lot of them are New Jersey, but some of them are coming up from down south. I really don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. So
Hmm.
usually you have to go with a 10% ratio or something like that to start. And so
Okay, that makes sense.
that's why there's always like a starting point. And then what I always do is do a smaller amount of rooms on the shoulder day. That's the day before. And then, of course, it peaks the day of. And then I might extend some if some are flying in the following day, so they have an extra day in case they can't get that flight out or something like that. Yeah. So that's typically how it goes. Where it's hard engaging, honestly, is the weddings that are more or less your Asian culture weddings, because they're massive
They're
and
massive. Yeah.
they're 3 days long, or
Hmm.
and so that's kind of hard. And a lot of times what we would have to do then is you have to occupy more than just one hotel. Then I sit down and I talk to them this way, and I said, okay, well, this is what I can do, but I also want you to understand a few things. We are we're a smaller property. My blocks start at 15, but I'm also going to tell you we're a Marriott property. You have to give people choices of where they want to go to, because that's just the way it is in life. There are some people that will just go to who their choice hotels are.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think what people don't, kind of understand too is that a lot of their guests, even if their guests are local, they may want to stay overnight someplace. They may not want to drive back down to the Jersey Shore if they're at the Venetian.
Right.
And it's something to really keep in mind. What's the financial liability for couples doing this? Because I know nothing about this, which probably puts me squarely in the camp of the people that you talk to every day. So,
So the financial responsibility is there is none, because it truly is a courtesy. That's what I do for them. It's just 30 days prior to, I'm going to release it so I can sell it free sale.
Gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
it. It gives me enough time to put my rooms back into the system.
Gotcha. You mentioned when we talked a couple weeks ago that there's a gigantic, see, your hotel is near the Meadowlands. The Meadowlands. There's some big things that happen there, and we were talking about something that's going to happen in the spring that I didn't know about. Why don't you
Right.
tell us about that?
So this spring, and then of course next year, we have the soccer coming through, right? 2025 is the preliminary games. And then, of course, in 2026 is when they're really hosting. So why we have this in 2025 would be, and it's all the countries that are going to be playing, whether it's Spain, Egypt, Germany, they'll all be coming here this summer because it's a way for them to get a feel for what it's like on the field at MetLife Stadium.
Oh,
Does
I
that
had no
Wow.
idea we were hosting that. That's
No,
really
me neither.
cool. Wow, you're going to be busy.
Oh, yeah.
So now during that
Great.
time frame, and as Celia would know because she understands the area,
Yeah.
literally we could throw a baseball and hit Teterboro Airport. We
Uh-huh.
have a lot of pilots coming here that we're contracted with. We can't even honor their rates. Some of those rates are going to be spiked up. And when the brides are calling me about wedding block rooms during this time frame, I ask them, are you aware of the fact that this is going over
Yeah.
a huge soccer event that's going to be hitting the area? And a lot of them did not know. This far out, I let them know I can't promise you.
Talk a little bit about this is really helpful. I have to tell you, Laura, this is really great. Um, Talk to me a little bit about how you handle transportation, because I feel like if you have people staying in a hotel, they're going to expect that they don't have to go drive someplace else. Is that accurate?
You mean in general? Or I'm asking like,
Probably.
are we still
Yeah.
talking wedding stuff or just in general?
Yes, no, wedding
Right.
stuff.
Wedding stuff.
Yeah. How are we getting to the wedding?
How
Is it part of the accommodations or do we make something separate?
So for me, how are they getting to the wedding would be if they choose one of my vendors, right? Um, and they met their minimum requirement of a wedding block, right? They will get a $200 shuttle credit to their vendor of choice, whether it's, my limo or Broadway Elite, like that. That's what happens. And so then that just helps me build more loyalty with my vendors and vice versa, right? And it also helps the bride and groom offset a cost for their guests.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
That's that's what I do.
I can tell you that, because I know you have handled, maybe still are, transportation to the Sparta venues. I'm somewhere up there literally every other week, and the shuttles they're never late. The people are always sitting in their seats when they're supposed to be, and that's
Yeah.
like a major, major thing.
And that would be Broadway Elite and
Yeah,
or my limo.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
so I'm very picky when it comes to that, and that's because I used to do a lot with procurement in hotels for corporate.
Mhm.
With that, you had to be on point when they were picking up your corporate client at an airport, so on and so forth. So I just stick with those two, and they're the best to me.
Yeah, I can vouch for that because I've really never had an issue with any of the places up there with shuttles. Yay. Like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great to have a relationship with a fellow vendor like that you can rely on, each other. That's real important.
Mhm. Well, and I think that, people planning weddings, I don't think that the first thing that they think about is how are people like shuttles, honestly. They're thinking about the venue, the flowers, the cake, and and that's absolutely fun. Listen, they don't think about us until usually the last minute either, and we don't take it personally. It's just,
Right,
it's just
right.
it just because it doesn't sound like it's gonna be. We try to make it fun, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna be fun. But it's once you have these pieces in place, it's it's so much more relaxing to then you can really do the fun stuff. When you have the kind of, big giant things in place, like your hotels and your transportation, that you don't have to worry about like where is everybody. That's like a huge thing. And that where is everybody thing, it's one of the first things that's going to happen. And if you're worried about that, then you're not going to have a good time.
Right.
There's what you once you can the things that you're going to worry about, like having, 75 people 30 minutes late, that's a big thing. And I've never seen that happen at any of the venues where Broadway was ever.
Oh, that's fabulous then.
Yeah.
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 Thank you. They do it a great, like I work for them, but no, but thank you because they're Bruce and Gary are really on point, I have to say.
It sounds like such unglamorous stuff to talk about, but
And that's
sometimes that foundational stuff
Important.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's important.
The
And
foundation, right. Yeah.
you get to the point where you're not worried about those things, and then you can be more focused on the things that are maybe a little bit more frivolous but seem a lot more fun.
Mhm.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Not a thing.
No.
Um,
So for us, I am going to say the challenge is not so much this year's weddings because they've already been pre-booked, so we're
yeah.
moving it to next year. It's next year going towards June and July because I am personally like blocked out of put like blocking anything due to the games going on at.
Mm. It's crazy trying to get all these things all together. And I think people who are in the midst of wedding planning don't necessarily think that there are other things going on. I've been stuck in plenty of traffic near Hamdel when somebody big was playing there, and it took me like an hour more to get to any place I was going to go because I don't really keep track of who's playing at the Garden State Arts Center.
Right.
That's right.
And how is it going to well, I can tell you when the Jets and the Giants are going to play at Giants Stadium because it's like, oh God, is it a Saturday? Is it a
I know. I've
Sunday?
learned to check that.
Is it
Yeah.
is it an afternoon game? I am leaving right now.
What's silly exactly, but at least I could say on this part of Jersey, they'll post it on like a light board. Take
Yes.
alternate routes.
No.
Giants are playing or something like that. So it's
I
like
know.
really something
I
else.
know. It's there's so many, it seems like something you shouldn't have to really worry about, but you do. And it's good to have somebody really knowledgeable in the space that can help you with this. And you certainly are. And you're
Yeah.
fun to work with too. So that's good.
Fun. Fun. No,
No,
but
it's
the
like
other
having
thing
a
that
travel
they
agent. Yeah.
that they should also understand is getting married during spring breaks because
Oh gosh.
and the reason why I say that is because within this area, what do we have that's an attraction? Go ahead.
I'm stumped. Okay, go ahead. Go
All
for it.
right. So if you haven't been there, you need to go to see the American Dream Mall
Oh,
Oh,
because I am telling you, everybody from everywhere starts booking rooms, during that whole time frame, that whole week, that spring break week or that winter break week.
and
And
it's for the mall?
it's got planes hanging from the ceiling.
they have,
Okay.
then you can go skiing inside. There's a roller
Oh,
coaster inside, a Ferris
Okay.
wheel
All
inside.
right.
So there's like, it's 1.2 million square feet of entertainment.
Okay. All
Plus
right.
high-end shopping. So they really made it a destination at this point. It's like a mecca on its own. Like it's just what it is. And so people do come here to vacation.
Okay.
that's
I get it.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know. I was kind of happy to hear that Legoland isn't like here. It's like
So
it's like upstate.
It sounds a bit, I'm located by the shore. It sounds a bit like
Oh
when
yeah.
people want to
Yeah.
have a wedding on the beach on, the 4th of July weekend. Hey, maybe you should rethink that because I don't know where they're going to park.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. But it's good that, people who are planning these things have, people who have done this for so long and have
Right.
that kind of worst case scenario like mindset. It's like, okay, maybe you can't do that. If you're going to, you need to start planning it right this minute. So I think it's good that we're talking about this because we're talking to a lot of people for 2026. And it's something that you can't think about this 2 weeks, before your wedding. You have to get all this together, and then you
Right.
can forget about it, kind of.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, Laura, thank you so much. It's nice to talk to you always, but
Oh,
I
wait.
think this was really, again, it doesn't sound like it's very glamorous, but it's so great to like to get it's like having like nice, warm, dry socks on, It's like it just makes you feel better and you got something under control.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I always do. It was a
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
pleasure meeting you too.
I
You have
learned
Really.
a
a
lot about you. Yeah, Celia
Thank
talks she
all
speaks
good.
very
It's all
highly
good.
of you and what an asset you are to
Oh,
the couples and their guests and all that you do for them. It's so great to have somebody knowledgeable like that to help them coordinate all of that.
Really, with
oh,
really good hair too. Really, it's that that helps.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Listen, take care. I hope I get to see you soon, and thanks for all the information.
Thank you. Have a great day, ladies.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey wedding officiant Andrea Pertel, owner of For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
And Celia Milton, owner of NJ Vows Now, also New Jersey wedding officiating services. We're up in North Jersey, and Andrea is down in Central and South Jersey. So together we cover the whole state, don't we?
Yes, yes.